Welcome again to this week's episode of LDN ONT TV here on Rogers TV. I am your host, Bronagh Morgan, and it has been a pleasure to bring really interesting stories about all different members of our community to our viewers over the past year and a half while I've been hosting LDN ONT TV. Initially, we were a politics broadcast, and it is my opinion that everything is political. This month, we are going to be highlighting some fascinating Londoners, Southwestern Ontario residents, and politics, whether or not they are involved in politics, does impact everything that they do. What you eat, who you socialize with, the things you watch on TV, and all of the social services that are available in our community. Politics impacts all of those things, and that's why we bring you these really interesting stories. So this month, March in particular, is a month that is marked as Trisomy Awareness Month. Some people know that I am the parent of a child who had trisomy 18. She lived for 3 days in 2009. Trisomy 18, also known as Edwards syndrome, is, I believe, the second or third most common trisomy that impacts human beings. The most common is something called trisomy 21, and a lot of people know that as Down syndrome. Today, we have the privilege of speaking to the Vice President of the London Down Syndrome Association. His name is Dan Twist, and he's going to be giving us some information about Down syndrome, the association locally, and all of the wonderful work that it's been doing for so many years. Welcome to the show, Dan.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
So, Dan, can you tell our viewers just a little bit about what exactly is trisomy 21 Down syndrome?
So everyone has 23 sets of chromosomes for a total set of 46. With Down syndrome, they get an additional chromosome attached to the 21st chromosome. So trisomy 21. And that impacts the person many different ways. But everyone's quite familiar with Down syndrome and the Down syndrome people. They have experience with their lives, but that's the science of it. It comes down to trisomy 21.
Exactly. Now, Down Syndrome Association, it was founded here in London, I believe, by a group of parents. Yes. Way back in 1983. Can you tell us a little bit about the history of the organization, what the goals of the people initially involved in the organization were, and how it's evolved over the years?
So yes, it did start in 1983. It was a group of parents that kind of got themselves together, and it was really a parent support group. So getting together in someone's basement, getting the kids together to play, the parents to talk about their experiences, their successes and their failures. And then over time, they started to realize that they could make an impact to the people who were not in that small group. So through the course of development of the organization, it's been 100% volunteer run and 100% volunteer board of directors, and has grown to where we now service 5 counties outside of London as well. So we do work in Middlesex, Elgin, Huron, Oxford, and Perth counties as well as the City of London. And really, our goal is to enrich the lives of children, young adults, and the families of anyone with Down syndrome.
Fantastic. Now, how did you get involved with the organization? You serve on the board, I believe.
Yes. So I have a son with Down syndrome and started participating in some of the activities that LDSA produces. So there's a Wee Ones group that we do for infants right up to 10-year-old children, and their families are allowed to participate as well. So my son, Lucas, that has Down syndrome, he's 8 years old. He's the middle of 3 children. And I thought it was important when he was first born for his older brother to get exposure to other people with Down syndrome, and for us to also get together with the parents. Through that, I was able to start participating in a few different activities that LDSA puts on. And one of them is a parent support group. And going to a parent support group and talking about having school-age children with Down syndrome and hearing what other parents had gone through, some of them with adult children with Down syndrome, was really eye-opening for me and really pushed me to get involved. And then I guess they saw that in me because one of the board members was actually in the parent support group and asked me to help out and join the board. And so I did that about 2.5 years ago now.
So that's what happens when you get involved with
That's
not-for-profit organizations, you get recruited. So viewers, if you are somebody who's considering, learning what it's like to be a board member, I know you're probably always recruiting like a lot of not-for-profits.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so now you came into the organization as a family with a child that had Down syndrome. How does somebody get involved with the organization? Do we just give you a call, or how do you make those connections?
So to volunteer for organization, you can go to our website, ldsa.ca, and there's a volunteer link, and you can actually fill out a form. And then once you've been vetted as a volunteer, you can join one of the programs that we already have running for our community, or you can come up with ideas for your own programs. We have a lot of community events that occur, a lot of great community fundraisers that occur. And so often those people that run their own event for their own family member or whichever that has Down syndrome and then contribute the funds to LDSA tend to get pulled into our organization as well and start participating with us. So from the very basics, it's join as a volunteer with our organization. And then from there, you can grow and build. And really, we're open to ideas for anything that you may have. You might have an idea that's worked great for your child or a brother or sister that has Down syndrome, and you bring that to us as an idea for a program or an activity or an event. And we're very open to assisting with that and getting it off the ground.
Fantastic. Now, as a member of the community, what if I want to access services from the organization? Let's say I'm somebody who has just received a diagnosis, maybe a child before it's born, or maybe I did genetic testing. How do I access the services of the organization?
So again, on our website, ldsa.ca, you can click on to get a new parent package. And so Rose and Shannon that kind of take care of our new parents for us will reach out to you. We actually provide you with a package that provides you lots of information, some different books that have been written, ones that have really spoken to us that have already gone through the experience. And then through there, you can join our database, and then we start inviting you to different events, and you can really pick and choose which events are of interest to you or are accessible to you. And through all of that point, you can always contact us, ask us questions. You can contact us through the website, and we're more than happy to reach out and help out any way we can. We've had people ask about, dental care to starting school, whatever the case may be. We have parents involved in the organization that we can fall back on to give you assistance and direction.
And that's one of the things that's so meaningful. And one of the things that I really love with the different organizations that I'm involved with is the peer aspect. You're dealing with people who have walked the same walk, who are going through the same issues. Maybe they're a little bit further along in their journey. And that's really such a valuable connection to make, isn't it?
Absolutely. And that's, again, what got me involved with the LDSA was going to parent support groups and speaking to other parents about what I was experiencing with my son as he was starting his school journey, and kind of the questions I had and the challenges I was coming up against, and being able to rely on people who had a son or a daughter that was 21 years old and has, finished school. Oh yeah, yes, yeah, we've been through that before. This is what you need to do, or this is how you should handle that. Be able to make connections with parents. That's the biggest challenge, and that's also the biggest reward with getting involved.
Fantastic. Yeah, the power of peer support and the power of community. Wonderful. We're going to have to take a short break, Dan. And viewers, we hope you'll stay tuned because we're going to talk to Dan from the London Down Syndrome Association a little bit more about maybe how COVID and restrictions have impacted the organization, and maybe some exciting things that we can get involved with this month, as it is Down Syndrome Awareness Month, Trisomy Awareness Month, and Down Syndrome Day is coming up on March 21st. So please stay with us. We'll be right back.
This program is brought to you by the following sponsors.
Carbon monoxide is a deadly gas you can't see, smell, or taste.
Homes with fuel-burning appliances and/or attached garages must have working CO alarms installed outside all sleeping areas.
Don't let the silent killer get you. Install working CO alarms today.
Jeff from Chillin' and Grillin' with Jeff. We're back for season 3. We've had the opportunity to see some great backyards and have some great barbecue. Join us, Chillin' and Grillin' with Jeff.
go.
You can't do this, Jacques. It's never been done before.
Mr. Blake.
You can't see down with that thing.
Mr. Blake.
Jacques, what?
They're coming.
Hold them up. Find something. Jacques, I'm telling you for the last time.
Are the Canadians finished? Is Plant coming back on the ice? Come on, give us something, will you?
Please, how many stitches? Gentlemen, please.
Hey, Tommy, get something to say to the people in the
On November 1st, 1959, Jacques Plant of the Montreal Canadiens broke with tradition.
You're a brave man, Mr. Plant, standing up to him like that.
And changed the face of hockey forever.
This is Rogers TV.
Welcome back to LDN ONT TV here on Rogers TV. I'm your host, Bronagh, and I've been speaking with Dan Twist, who is the Vice President of the London Down Syndrome Association, been serving the community for many years now, since 1983, serving families, serving people who live with Down syndrome with many programs and services. Speaking during this Trisomy Awareness Month, talk to me about Down Syndrome Day. So that's March 21st. And I know some people are probably familiar with the Odd Socks, I guess, initiative. So tell us what that's all about, Dan.
So the World Down Syndrome International Organization has been the one who's pushed World Down Syndrome Day for March 21st each year. So again, 321, so the third chromosome on the 21st chromosome. That's the significance of the day. So as part of that, because a chromosome kind of looks like a sock, they came up with the idea to wear different kinds of socks, fun socks, weird socks, whatever the case may be, but to really have fun on March 21st with different pairs of socks, to highlight the fact that you can have different colored socks, you can have different patterned socks, you can have all sorts of fun designs on your socks, but they're still socks and everyone still wears socks. So just like the people in our community, they might be a little bit different, and they might be a little bit special, but they still are human beings like anyone else.
What a fantastic, so I never understood the connection before between the socks and the shape of the chromosome, but that makes a lot of sense. So, all right, so Trisomy 21 Awareness Day. Other things that are going on this month. I, visited your website prior to this interview, and I was really amazed by all of the fantastic events. I'm sure you've had to switch to a lot of virtual because, like every organization, there has been these restrictions in terms of keeping people safe, in particular, people who maybe have a disability or any kind of health issues. It's really important to make sure that people are protected. And so you've switched to a lot of virtual fitness classes, for example. Like, fitness is one of my favorite things to get involved with. Talk to me about the many, many things that are going on that people can get involved with in terms of your event calendar coming up.
Yeah, so we did have to make some changes with COVID. Obviously, we had to pull back on our in-person events. Prior to COVID, we did lots of events in terms of social engagement. So big thing is to get, especially our teens and young adults, together in the community to be able to go out there and have fun, and then also develop their skills with communicating and living within our society as well. So we would do cooking classes to bowling, to dance nights, all sorts of fun events. Obviously, we had to pull that back. And one of the things with our community that we tend to struggle with is fitness and health. So we've really focused on having virtual drum fit classes, virtual jazzercise, anything that we could do online. And we've had great participation with that and great success with those programs. And those programs did run before in person, but we've just switched to virtual. So we're really looking forward that next little while, hopefully with the health situation getting better, that we can reintroduce some of those in-person activities again. We have done some golf lessons. So golf is a great sport for our community to be involved in. And so Fanshawe Golf pros assist us with that and run golf clinics all the time for our community. And some of the other activities, we've had a summer camp every year. We have not, unfortunately, been able to run it the last 2 years, but that summer camp, we'd like to get back up on the ground probably next year in 2023. But that camp really focuses again on communication skills, speech therapy. And that's where the other side is. So we like to have fun. We like to get our community out and involved, but we also focus on therapy as well. So we do have a bursary program that families can apply for, and we can help subsidize any therapy that their children may need, particularly speech therapy. That's the big kind of therapy that we tend to go through, but music therapy as well.
And those are services, I guess, that are not covered under our OHIP system. Those are things that are outside the healthcare system, right?
Correct.
So in terms of maybe the way that our healthcare system now is shifting a little bit towards these Ontario health teams and bringing more organizations and more services under the umbrella of health, talk to us a little bit about, what kind of services could really benefit members of the Down syndrome community if they were brought into the healthcare system. So you talk about music therapy, other ideas?
So the health system does a great job for newborns to school-age children. So organizations like BON and CPRI assist quite a bit for those younger families with occupational therapy, speech therapy, as I mentioned. But once they kind of hit the schools, those supports kind of drop off, and you're now competing in a greater pool of individuals that need the same services. So whether it's occupational therapy in the schools, well, you'll have other children in the schools that need that assistance as well. So there's always gaps in that support for children with Down syndrome. So we're trying to assist and trying to help out and develop those programs and kind of fill the gaps where we can with either subsidized programs, free programs, or bursary to be able to, for the families to be able to choose the service provider they are most comfortable with to get that service that they need. Beyond London and the London Down Syndrome Association and our counties, there is the Down Syndrome Association of Ontario, and then also Canadian Down Syndrome Association that they do a lot of the lobbying for the province and the federal government to try and get us more supports that way.
Fantastic. So there obviously is an advocacy piece as well for those people who watch our show for the politics. So there is an advocacy piece that you can get involved in if you're hoping to try and, I guess, bring these things with, into the, I guess, the thinking space of those people who are making decisions about how we invest our government funding.
Yeah, and the Down Syndrome Association of Ontario did a fantastic job early on with COVID to lobby the government to get vaccinations sped up for us and get us kind of ahead in the queue. Obviously, people with Down syndrome will often have respiratory issues. So a respiratory disease can be quite difficult for them to manage. So we were able to get ourselves and our communities and our families moved up so that we can protect our families in the home and our individuals that have Down syndrome in our homes by getting vaccinated a little bit earlier. So that's one of the things that one of the successes we had during COVID was to be able to get ourselves kind of moved up in the queue. And that was through a lot of the work with the Down Syndrome Association of Ontario.
That's fantastic. Really great to see not only working with people in the community, but also being able to, mobilize people to make those big changes on a societal level. So Dan, maybe with the last couple of minutes that we have, from your time that you've been involved with, you came in because your son had a Down syndrome diagnosis. Have you seen any changes in terms of, are things getting better in society in terms of awareness, in terms of service provision, in terms of, I guess, the way the community involves people with Down syndrome?
Absolutely. And that's our big focus is inclusion and awareness. We want people to understand that just because someone has Down syndrome doesn't mean they don't have value and they're not contributing to society. People with Down syndrome can drive a car, they can have a job, they can have families, they can have children. There's nothing holding them back. And I think some of the things you've seen over the last even 10 years, Down syndrome child being the Gerber baby on the baby food. There's now a Down syndrome model that's a Victoria's Secret model. You can argue the appropriateness of some of that stuff, but all in all, it means that we're being accepted in society more, and our children have a better chance of integrating into society moving forward. You look back even to the 1960s, the average life expectancy of a Down syndrome child was only 10 years. Now it's between 50 and 60 years. And that's because they're being involved in the community and in our society greater, and they're being shown the love that they deserve.
And so I think if you are somebody who is watching the show right now and you want to be involved in showing that kind of love, we should point them to the website and point them to getting involved with London Down Syndrome Association. What's your website again?
LDSA.ca.
All right, so get involved with somebody who has been sharing all this great information with us today, Dan, and get involved with fantastic people at the London Down Syndrome Association. Regardless of where you're from in this area, I bet you can find a job for somebody to help with, can't you?
Absolutely, we can.
Well, thanks for being with us today, Dan. We're going to have to take another break. Please stay with us for a little bit more LDN ONT TV after this.
This program is brought to you by the following sponsors.
The Canadian film and TV industry recognizes it's time to build a better workforce, which includes more opportunities for Black, Indigenous, and persons of color. HireBIPOC.com is here to help make this happen. Whether you're already in the business, trying to get a start, or in a position to hire, HireBIPOC.com could connect you to the right people. From script to development, production to post, distribution to marketing. Check out HireBIPOC.com now and help build a stronger industry together.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Tyler Fines, host of Off the Puck Hockey on Rogers Channel 20. We interview some of the biggest names in hockey and sports. Check us out, Rogers Channel 20, Off the Puck Hockey. Let's go.
Night's action on Rogers TV. You're watching Rogers TV.
And welcome back to LDN ONT TV. I'm Bronagh, and now I'm here joined with my friend Tyson. So we end all of our broadcasts, or almost all of our broadcasts, with a conversation with somebody who meets the youth demographic. Tyson is 12, soon to be a teenager. He's been studying obviously a little bit online, a little bit in school over the past couple of years. And obviously it'd be great to hear your perspective, Tyson, about, COVID and all things school related and just how things are going with you. So welcome to the show, Tyson.
Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for being here. So perspective, it has really been a lot of back and forth between the online learning and the in-school learning over the course of the past couple of years. Do you have a preference between the online and the in-school environment?
Yeah, in-school is better for me because I can't really pay attention online because I have other distractions that I can be doing other than learning. So, like video games and my phone and
all kinds of stuff. So back in school since I think it was the end of January or sometime about a month or so ago. Happy to be back. What did you miss the most about being in-person school?
Like not being there?
Yes.
Probably my friends.
Right. And so how have you been able to stay connected with your friends during the school shutdown? Were you doing a lot of, online gaming or just staying in touch using your phone?
Yeah, both of those things were a big help when I was online because I could always call one of my friends if I needed help with something.
Yeah. So it must be nice to be back, though, obviously. Now, you know that I think there's just been an announcement recently about how schools are probably going to be changing a little bit when we come back from March break, and that the mask mandate here in Ontario is supposed to be lifted as of our first day back. How does that make you feel? Are you a little worried about it, or are you feeling pretty good about that?
I already don't wear a mask in school. I have a mask exemption, so it's not going to make much of a difference for me.
Interesting. And how does that work for you? Do you get a lot of questions about having a mask exemption?
No, not really, because most of my class knows I have asthma.
Okay.
And in fact, I can't. If I walk around without a mask, there's a lot more of a chance, or with a mask, there's a lot more of a chance of me having an asthma attack.
Interesting.
And I don't get enough oxygen, so it's not really a good fit for me.
Understood. So I guess you're back in school, going to take a little break for March break, back in the end of March. What are some of the things that you're looking forward to for the rest of the school year, now that we're pretty sure we're going to be there for the foreseeable?
My actual principal being back.
Nice.
My principal took a humongous leave for the school year, so she's supposed to be back May or June.
Excellent. And anything that you could tell our other viewers, maybe some young people like you, in terms of trying to, I guess, cope when they go back to school with having, no masks anymore? Being kind with each other.
Yeah.
Respecting each other's differences, maybe.
Yeah.
And so obviously you haven't had a hard time with other people, some people wearing masks, some people not. And I guess that's the thing we're just going to get used to in society after March, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Tyson, for chatting with us today. And thank you to our first guest as well, Dan Twist from the London Down Syndrome Association. And thank you to viewers for being here with us for another episode of LDN ONT TV here on Rogers TV. I'm Bronagh, and I hope you'll join us again next week.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
It was John's graduation. We were so proud. We all got together for a picnic. That's when we heard coming from the radio. So we stopped and we listened. It helped us get to safety. That's why when I think of John, because now he has a real future to look forward to.
Hi, I'm Dan Mailer. I'm the host of London Lights, the show where we talk about notable Londoners who have made a big